So hello there.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, so I am Kylie Montgney. I'm from a small town down in Pennsylvania. I am a journalist, host, founder, you name it. I'm a million things. It's hard to keep track of everything. But I am the host of Talk of Fame podcast, um, where I interview celebrities like actors, singers, athletes, you name it, people throughout the industry to inspire younger generations that they can be anything in the world, no one can stop them, and to really bring more awareness for women, to show young girls and women that they can be anything in the world and no one can stop them, because I know they are always discriminated for who they are and what they want to be. So I want to show that they can be anything, and I am the founder of Empower Girls, which I founded back in June of this year. So it hasn't been that long since I started the organization. And a little about the organization is that um, it's based off of ending gender bias and inclusion in the media. And so since, like I said before, girls are always being discriminated for who they are, especially in television. Guys are always doing all the cool things while women is always like the housewives are being the mother. So I really want to show that women and girls can really do anything they want to do, and to really bring more awareness for young girls and women. And our memo is, if they can, you can. And so that's kind of a little bit more about me and what I do.
And what made you start it?
Well, so I've been a huge Gina Davis fan for a couple of years. And so like, she does similar work. She has her own organization called Gina Davis Institute on Gender Media. And once I became a fan of her, I watched her movie A League of Their Own during quarantine, and I immediately I became a fan of her immediately once I watched her on television, and I was looking at what she does and what movie she was in. I was kind of doing a little research on her and what she did, and now wow, I immediately became obsessed with her. I immediately became number one fan, and I noticed that she has an institute that she founded down in 2004 after watching kids shows for her daughter when she was 2 years old. And
Hmm.
she didn't really see any girls in TV shows for kids, and seeing girls doing all these fun things while all the guys were doing all these cool, interesting things, while all the girls were doing nothing, and there's mostly boys in the scene. And so I was doing more research on what was a problem. And I'm like, and I saw the data that was in it, and like one, this is 6 6. Oh, I can't say 6 6. It's so hard to say that word. But when I saw this, like when I saw the research, there's only in kids media and media in general, there's only 2 to 1 men. So there's more
Hmm.
men in movies. And I'm like, what the freak? Like, why is this a problem? Like, how is this a problem? And as a kid, like I never had anyone that I looked up to as a kid, and I never saw anyone like myself. I never kind of felt inspired by the female characters, and I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, should I change? Like, I kind of thought it was something wrong with me. And so I was like, once I saw what Gina was doing, I was like, oh my God, it's like at least someone's doing something. I kind of never thought it was an actual problem until I became a fan of her. And so then, like, I was like, I should really do something about it and everything, since I'm so passionate about it. And of course, I was doing a podcast and everything. I was like, I kind of should do something more than a podcast. Because obviously, not everyone likes podcasts, and everyone kind of doesn't like has not as a lot of time. So I was like, I should really create an organization or something that kind of will help people in the media, that can help them see themselves in general. So I was like, why not create an organization and actually make something out of it and everything? And so I was like, all right, let's like create this thing. And then it took me about 2 weeks to kind of figure it out and what I wanted to kind of get out of this. And so I was like, okay, well, I got this done in 2 weeks and I published it, and I really got a great response out of it, and everyone has been so supportive, and I really couldn't be more grateful for everyone's support and what I got out of it.
Well, that's really awesome. That's a really awesome background. And I researched about a little about you. You recently won a reward, am I correct?
Yeah.
And what reward was that?
So it was April Recipient Award from the All Rights Foundation, which Aaron Judge founded a couple of years ago, and it helps kids. And so I once I saw research about what that he did, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like what you're doing is inspiring. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I was really inspired by his mission for the foundation, and I saw they're getting recipients and stuff each month. And obviously coming from a baseball family, being from a sports fan, I was like, I really like I should submit myself in it, because I kind of thought like, oh, you may never know. Like I kind of did expect myself to win, and I was like, I kind of did it this because like I was like, oh, it's always good to try. Even if I don't win, it's always worth a try. And I submitted something and forgot all about it, and I was like just living my life, forgetting about it. Then I received an email, and they're like, hey, you won, like what's we like to send some stuff over to you. And I got a personalized note from Aaron Judge, which was a dream come true because I love Aaron Judge. And I got posted and I won. I was so excited, and it was such really an honor to win, because like obviously coming from a baseball family, I love Aaron Judge. I knew him for years, and like to see someone that I liked since I was a kid win from his foundation was such a dream come true. And to win my first ever award for my work
Mm.
was such a dream come true, because I kind of never expected to win anything. I really just started my podcast and my work just to do something, and just to kind of get like do something to help other people. I didn't kind of expect to win anything. I just did it just because like I enjoyed it, and to really just get recognized for my work and know it's impacting people and everything really is just a dream come true. And I really couldn't be more grateful for that.
That's awesome. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, of course. I know your show's about your podcast. I shouldn't say show, but podcast. Pardon me. It's about women's power, and it's very moving. And I'm a very hardcore equal rights person, and all that stuff. And but that's why I wanted to have you on my show as well, because I believe in equal rights and all that stuff that's been going on, and so all the stuff that's been happening in your life so far is where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought of that actually. Like I haven't thought of that question. But I kind of see myself in college and majoring in journalism. Like I kind of see myself kind of like that, and maybe on a red carpet interviewing people, because that's my dream job. And so it kind of like what I do now, but on a red carpet. So I just kind of hopefully I can see myself in college studying journalism and maybe doing interviews and stuff on the red
Mm-hmm.
carpet.
So do you see yourself being a motivational speaker?
Maybe that's an idea. I always kind of want to be a motivational speaker, so that's an idea that I can kind of see myself doing in the future.
Yeah, that's good. That's really true. And then it's great because you can see yourself going to colleges or schools and speaking and stuff like that. So now
Yeah.
I studied a little bit more about you, if you mind. You mind me talking about it. So you do, and I'm not afraid to talk about this. I do suffer depression. I'm open about it, 100%. And I know you are as well.
Yeah.
And the question is, how do you? I can tell you mine answer after I ask you if you want to answer. But how do you overcome your depression and your mind and all that stuff?
Yeah, at first, like for me, like I suffered with anxiety my whole life. So it wasn't anything new for me, because like I suffered it since I was a child. So it was like nothing like new on my behalf. And like at first as a kid, I didn't know what anxiety meant. Like I didn't know what anxiety depression really was. Since I was really young, like I didn't know what it was. So obviously like I kind of thought it was something that kind of it's okay to be nervous. I kind of was thought
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like a gut feeling a little bit. And as I got older, I kind of was always in these kind of special classes, and I was always talking about anxiety and stuff. And like, and when I was in those like type of situations, I would always think like, "What the heck is anxiety? Like, what is this? Like, I don't know what anxiety is. Like, what's going on?"
Right.
And so as I got older, like I just kind of did more research about it and kind of realized what it meant. And I remember back summer 2020 after the pandemic hit,
Right.
and
Right.
I remember getting really sick. And I kind of thought at first, I was like, oh my, okay, like it might be a little cold or like a sinus infection or something. It's no big deal. Because obviously I get bad very cold and sinus infections and stuff. So obviously I was like, okay, well, maybe it's something like that. And so I never took it seriously. I took medicine and I took all I needed to get better, and I wasn't getting better at all. And so after I was like laying on the couch in my bedroom, and I was laying, I didn't want to get up. And I couldn't, like, every time I would try to get up, I would like not force myself to get up, and I couldn't eat. I didn't do anything. And so I went to the ER like about like a week in, and they said like there's nothing wrong with you, like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with you. Like they gave me these like medication, like they said like, oh, it's probably like a cold or a virus or something, it'll be over in a couple of days. And so I got in a couple of days later, I was still not better. And I remember like going crazy. I'm like, I hate this. Like, I want to go live, like, have fun with my friends. It was summer. I was off school. Like, I was just wanting to enjoy my life while I had it during the summer, and not stress about anything. And so it went on for a couple of months. I went to the doctors every like week and went to um like I went to the doctors, ER, I did everything, but the doctors literally said there's nothing wrong with you. They literally gave me the same answer, and I was like, oh my gosh, like why do they keep saying that? There's always something wrong with me, but they're just not seeing it. And so I remember going to this like thing done for me, and they got this thing done. You're like, Kylie, like you're dealing with anxiety and depression. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing anxiety and depression. Like, there's no way. Like, I was questioning them. I'm like, I know what anxiety and depression is, but this is not it. Like, this is not the answer to the question. And they're like, well, it is. And I was kind of like upset. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how is this anxiety and depression? Obviously, I was kind of getting anxiety because this wasn't stopping, but I didn't think it was that bad. And so I remember getting medication a few weeks later, and I remember taking it, and I felt better in a week. I was a new person. I
Mm-hmm.
was doing all these things, and like, no, my parents didn't even recognize me. They're like, Kylie, what's up with you? Like, you're doing all these things, like. And then I became like a better person that I was, and I was like, I acted like it didn't happen. And I literally, and the medicine really changed my life. And since then, like, obviously depression and anxiety is so huge part of my life, I still kind of deal with it today. But as your question goes, like, there's really a lot of things that help me with
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like when I'm dealing with anxiety, but really like going on walks and meditating really helps me. Like I go on walks every single day. Like I was just on a walk before we started, and I meditate every single day. And so that's really the main thing that really helps me with anxiety, depression, is going on walks and meditating. Because obviously when you're doing that, you're resting your body, and you're just kind of relaxing yourself and thinking about something else, and and you're listening to something, like while you're on a walk, you listen to music, a podcast, or
Right,
something.
right.
And so you gotta set your mind when you're meditating. You just kind of sit there and just relax and forget what's happening in life, even if it's hard or just you're happy. You just relax and reflect and just enjoy it in the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. For me, walking helps me and music helps me for sure for my depression. I suffered it a little bit half of my life as well. So you're not alone, and there's other people out there. But that's a good message. Walking helps, music, meditation does help for sure. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
that. I shouldn't say I believe that personally. I know we need to talk about mental health more, but
Mm-hmm.
but we're not talking about it as a society. So that's good we're talking about it. Definitely 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. I feel like mental health should be talking more, because like obviously mental health has become a huge thing, especially during the pandemic. No one has really talked about it, and I just feel like everyone should have at least talk about it. Always people can learn from your experiences, and might want to get more help on it and everything. Might get
right.
help and everything.
Yeah, that's true. For me, I hide my depression, so that's why people don't know it. But it's very difficult for people to notice I do suffer depression. But I smile. I love what I'm doing. I must show. Interview actors and actresses, directors, film directors. Podcasts. You're my first person who I filmed with a podcast. But this is the conversation and interviews and stuff we have to talk about. For sure about mental health is number one priority. And September is the suicide prevention month, of course. We got to talk about that. And then for me in my life, I can talk about this, but I lost 3 friends from suicide. So for me, mental health is very, very important for me to talk about. And there's things out there we can do. Also, reach out to your friends, and text and call and hang out and see how they're doing, because it's very important, because we need to hear positive things in our life.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was the same way. Like when I was going through depression, no one knew that I was going through it. Like when I
Right.
was really sick, I like didn't tell anyone because I was embarrassed, because I didn't want people to judge me for what I was going through.
Yeah. No one
And
no one should no one should be embarrassed.
yeah,
And
like people knew I was sick, but people didn't know like how I was sick for, what it actually was from.
right. 100%. I totally agree. No one should be embarrassed what they're going through. Mental health is
Mhm.
very important to talk about.
Mhm.
Anxiety, depression, and it's good to go for a walk and exercise and all that stuff that we can keep our mind focused.
Mhm.
Yes, walking does help with your brain, and it's been proven by doctors and science and all that stuff. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
So, you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. And which one of those birthdays actually today? So happy birthday! If he sees this, happy birthday to my brother. His birthday's today. So
Oh wow! Wow! Happy birthday! And are you the youngest or the middle child or the?
I'm the youngest actually. I have a twin brother, and so he's a bit older. So I'm basically the youngest out of everyone.
Wow! 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 The youngest, and you're the only one having the podcast. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, my brother and stuff. I come from a sports family, so most of my family plays sports and everything. So basically, am a different type of kid, I guess. But I played sports when I was young, so it
Mm-hmm.
was. I mean, I still did the kind of the sports side and everything.
Okay. Okay. So, what's your favorite sport?
Baseball, baseball
Baseball.
and football.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's your favorite football team, by the way?
Seattle Seahawks,
Oh,
100%. What's
okay.
your
So,
favorite?
well, it was the Denver Broncos. By the way, we played you guys.
Oh yeah, yesterday. Yeah, we won by 1 point.
Right. I know. It's very shocking. I thought we were
Yeah,
gonna
I
win.
was like getting nervous at the end. I was like, oh my god, no, please don't ruin it right now.
I thought we were gonna win. That was a very impressive win.
Yeah, I thought you guys were gonna win too. Not gonna lie, I was like, they're probably gonna win this game. You guys had the ball and everything. I was like, oh,
Right.
how I'm feeling about this.
We have your quarterback, Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
So.
I was so upset when he got traded because he's my favorite player, so I was upset. But I was so cheering him on though, even though he's a Bronco.
Right. So you need to be a Denver Broncos fan, but you should. So now tell me a little bit more about how can people listen to your podcast, and you have a YouTube page, is that correct?
Yeah.
And how many times do you do your podcast, and how often or what day do you do it? Once a week, twice a week?
Yeah, so you can find the podcast on any platform like Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And I usually do the podcast at least once a week, maybe more. It depends on the week. But I usually do the podcast at least like once a week because I put episodes out weekly. Unless like I'm out or like I'm like on vacation or something, then I'll try to do it next week, but I'll try usually try to put out episodes weekly as much as I could.
That's awesome. And by the way, on your Instagram, you met an actor, and you met. I'm so bad at him. Hugh Jackson, right? Hugh
Jackman, yeah.
Thank you. How was it?
Oh my gosh, it was such a dream come true. Oh my gosh, like I've been a Hugh Jackman fan.
What kind of I saw you having some conversation with him. What did he say to you, and what did you say back to him?
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, he's actually one of my good friends. Like, I've been a fan of him for years, and he's been my idol. He's the reason why I wanted to be in this industry. And I became I used to be a dancer, so I did dance because of him. And so I was like telling him, I was like, "Hey, I started dance because of you. Like, I saw you on tour, like, and all these things, and I used to see him." And like I went down to New York so much, and we met a few times, and we just became really good friends. And he'd be like, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you," and all these things. We just became really good friends, and I met him so often that he would recognize me, be like, "Hey, Kylie, like, how's it going?" and everything. So it's really been a dream come true because like I always wanted to be friends with Hugh Jackman, and so it was always been my number one dream of mine to be friends with him. So it's like now like it's a really honor to be friends with him. He's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood,
right?
And it's like to know that you're friends with someone that big and someone that you looked up to for years is a very, I should say, like, speechless, or like crazy to think about, to think like you're actually friends with your idol and everything, and being recognized by him and everything for your, like, he often tells me stuff about my work and everything, like he will love to come on the podcast and all these things, and I'm like, oh my god, he wants to come on the podcast, like, oh my god, how am I going to get through the interview? But it's really been an honor to talk with him and everything. He's such an amazing guy and one of the sweetest people I ever met.
Wow, that's awesome. And when did you meet him?
I first met Hugh when I first met him. I first met him in May, I think. No, wait, March. I met him in March, but I met him a couple times since then now.
Wow, awesome. That's awesome. And then you're gonna be interviewing an actor in November.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I usually do interviews for Paris Torch. So shout out for Paris. He's also a podcaster, so he's amazing. I got to be on his show too, and he's a really amazing person.
That's awesome. And of course, thank you for coming on my show.
Of course, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking with
you. How did you find my the reality show?
Yeah, so I actually know Victoria Faith Miller. I know her. I had her on my podcast as well. So
okay.
I saw like she shared it on her story, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I decided to like it and stuff, and I listened to the show, and I was like, this is really great. Like this guy is really amazing, and I was really impressed with your skills. I thought you were really amazing and inspiring.
Well, thank you. Very honored, of course, and thank you for coming on my show. And of course, you're always welcome back on my show.
Oh, thank you so much. I would seriously like that. I would love to talk with you more.
You're very welcome. And of course, I can't wait to hear more about your stories and all the upcoming stuff that you have in the future for you. And
Thank you so much.
of
You
course,
too.
we need to talk about equal rights for sure, and mental health, and definitely number one is mental health, because we're not talking about it as much
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Like,
in the
mental health is
society.
such a huge thing, and it really should be talked about more.
Right. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed that you suffer depression. I suffer depression. I'm open up about it. I mentioned it on my show a couple of times, and it's very important to talk about this stuff and these issues in society, because we're not opening up about it, right? And
Yeah.
and that's the problem. If we don't open up about it, and people are afraid to talk about it. And we should open up. People need to be opening up about it and talk about it. Don't be ashamed about mental health. Don't be ashamed of going through depression or anxiety, because everybody goes through something, right? We don't know what they're going through, but that's how we find out what we know what's going on in their life and their future. So it's the stories we hear about their background and stuff like that. So
yeah, 100%. Like,
yeah.
at first, like, I'm like so glad like I opened up about it, because like years ago I didn't even tell anyone, and so like I'm just like happy like to at least share my story with people and actually impact people, to tell them like everyone suffers from anxiety in any way. Even if you only suffer like a little bit, like it doesn't matter, you might only suffer a little bit. But like I'm just very thankful, because like obviously I'm inspired by your story, and you're telling me about your journey and everything. This is like what makes me happy, to know that I'm not alone, and it's impacting people and everything.
Right, you're not alone. I'm here. We're all here for each other. And that's what we do. We're in the it doesn't matter if we're in the entertainment industry or not. We all support each other, because we don't know what we're going through, right? And that's why it's good to smile, be kind to people, and and you never know, that's going to impact people's life, because depression, anxiety, or bipolar, or whatever people are going through, that we're here for them. Where mental health is very important to talk about. So
100%.
So if you mind me asking, you're in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Do you mind if you I don't know if you feel comfortable? What state are you from?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. Wow, that's a cold state.
Yeah. Yeah, Pennsylvania is mostly farm state. Yeah.
It really is?
Yeah, it's a farm state. It's country state.
I did not know that.
Yeah, most of Pennsylvania is all country and stuff, farms, whatever you name it.
Really? I thought it was a big city and all that stuff.
Oh, really? Where are you from?
Well, I'm in Oklahoma City. Not really a big city, but it's a farm. But I've traveled to LA a lot. But of course, Pennsylvania. I thought it was like this. What do you call it? Independence Day, the bells and all that. That's Philadelphia, right? Right?
Yeah, I live about 2 hours from Penn State, and we go there often. My family's big Penn State fans, so we go there often.
Right.
And their football games and stuff.
And by the way, their football stadium was amazing at night. The lights 100%. And the fans. Yeah, I think
the fans are really amazing. I
think someone said, by the way, Penn State fans are like probably #1 college fans or something.
Penn State fans are the best, especially during the whiteout games and stuff, or like Ohio State or Michigan State or something. I totally recommend going to one of those games.
Right, it's loud.
Yeah, it's loud. You'll be shocked by how loud it is and how the fans are during those type of games.
Wow, definitely one day.
And trust me, you're probably gonna lose your hearing or your voice after the game. Just FYI.
Have you?
Huh?
Have you lost your voice?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I almost lost my voice from screaming.
Wow, amazing. That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on my show. And of course, thank you for following me. And you're always welcome back on my show. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure talking with you.
And by the way, I will, I'll probably get a film director and see if this person's interested, and I'll have you on and we can talk more about mental health.
Yeah, I would like that. I
Yeah.
seriously like
So
that.
I will reach out to this person and see what this person says, but we can go and I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. And if you ever need help with anything, just send me a message. I would seriously love to help out with anything
Yeah,
I
you're
can.
very, thank you. And of course, you have my support in your journey. And of
Thank you.
course, let's stay in touch. Definitely, 100%.
100%. Like if
Yes, and
you definitely have my support for sure. If you ever need anything,
yeah,
you
and you have my support.
know.
And you know, if you want to announce anything, you want to talk about more about mental health, for sure. You know, you and I, you know, you can come on my show, and it can be only talking about mental health. And I really believe, you know, we should talk about that. You know,
Hmm.
and because mental health is very important, especially in September. You know, this is the
Yeah.
Suicide Prevention Month, and of course, like I said, I'm open up about it. Lost 3 friends to suicide, and you know, I suffer depression, but you know, there's help, there's reasons, but walking, like you said, helps and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
thank you for opening up. So I'll let
Of
you
course.
know, and let's stay in touch.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much. My phone
No,
is
it's okay. Your phone,
right now.
and I will send you a message. You send me a message, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to keep in touch for sure.
All right, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Great
I talk
talking
to
to
you
you.
soon. All right, bye.